Buckle up. Welcome to Hannity. So much breaking news that I promise you won't get anywhere else. I want to start tonight, though, with a thank you to you, the viewers of this show and this network. You continue to make this show not only possible, but number one in all of cable news. Now going on our third year. We do not ever take it for granted. And one of the things we promise you is, unlike the hate Trump media mob, we are working hard every single day with a great ensemble cast here to bring you truth. Every single night, every single week, we will continue to do so. Thank you for all your support. But we can report tonight, Act One is over. In spite of the noise, Robert Mueller is out. The witch hunt has been dissolved. He said nothing today that wasn't already said in the Mueller report. So Act Two, which is surrounding the deep state's unprecedented abuse of power and corruption, that is now only beginning. That means Jim Comey, John Clapper, James Clapper, John Brennan, and others, they are terrified. They know they're in big trouble, and we'll have a lot on this throughout the hour tonight. But first, at this hour, what you are hearing from the Democrats, their, well, pet parrots in the media mob, is nothing more than dumb, idiotic noise. Only noise, per usual, ongoing hysteria, not about truth, not about facts. You've had 2 years of lies and hoaxes and conspiracy theories peddled every second, every minute, every hour of every day. And it's just one more round of lying, tinfoil hat conspiracy theories, Trump bashing over a narrative that is totally dead and buried. Because tonight, well, the fact remains, there was no Trump-Russia collusion. There was no obstruction. Nothing has changed. Mueller spent 20-plus months, $25-plus million investigating a hoax, and now for the fourth time we have a conclusion: no collusion, no conspiracy. Now, today he officially resigned from the office of special counsel, but not before showing the world, of course, what we already knew on this program: his partisan, hackery, true colors, if you will. You have a career bureaucrat, nothing more than a Trump-hating partisan, who is now all but cheering for impeachment based on nothing. And we were right the entire time. Watch this.
If we had had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so. We did not, however, make a determination as to whether the president did commit a crime. The Constitution requires a process other than the criminal justice system to formally accuse a sitting president of wrongdoing.
Number one, Mr. Mueller doesn't know the law. He's basically full of crap. And the special counsel's regulations, they are very clear. According to the law, remember we got rid of the Independent Counsel Act? Oh, because people like Gerald Nadler didn't want the Ken Starr report with 11 specific felonies listed even made public. So they changed the law. That means the Attorney General of the United States, under Nadler and company's new law, he has the final say. And we already know his answer. The Attorney General Barr, the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, the nonpartisan Office of Legal Counsel, all crystal clear on this matter. They all concluded the president did not obstruct justice, not because of some Justice Department rule or guideline or some constitutional restriction. They actually were very clear on this point, but because there was no crime, period. So make no mistake, this is no cover-up, and according to a statement from the DOJ tonight, despite the special counsel's rhetoric, there is no conflict between Barr and Mueller about this matter. In America, you know, we live in a country where the burden of proof is always on the state. Now, I know we live in a world where media will convict a 16-year-old kid and not even make a phone call to get to any of the facts. But the reality is, in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. It is a fundamental, basic constitutional right. And as the president just stated on Twitter, quote, nothing changes from the Mueller report. There was insufficient evidence. Therefore, in our country, a person is innocent. This case is closed. Thank you. He's right. Mueller's continued public smear of a duly elected president who has been charged with no crime is completely unethical and immoral. We will explain all of this in detail. And Mueller's actions today had nothing to do with justice, everything to do with politics, and his presser today served one purpose, and that was to help the Democrats, yet give them another political bone to chew on. Bone has no meat. There's no underlying crime. There's no evidence of guilt. Just more innuendo, more speculation surrounding what we now know as a total conspiracy theory. Compare that to the Starr report, which I mentioned earlier, under the independent counsel statute. Well, independent counsel Ken Starr, he actually outlined 11, look right there, specific crimes committed by then President Bill Clinton. 5 counts of lying under oath, 4 counts of obstruction, 1 count of witness tampering, 1 count of abuse of constitutional authority. President Clinton lost his law license. He was impeached, and he had to pay Paula Jones nearly $1 million because of the specific crimes uncovered by Starr. Yet today, we see a much different picture. Mueller is now just cheering for the president's impeachment over phantom obstructive justice with no intent, no underlying crime, and these same people screaming all over television today are not the people that would ever say Hillary violated 18 U.S.C. 793, the Espionage Act, and then when she deleted the 33,000 subpoenaed emails, yeah, and then she bleach-bit the hard drive, and then she had an aide bust up her devices and pull out SIM cards. Oh, the intention was clear, which was to destroy the evidence of the underlying crime. Why isn't anybody in the media ever point that out? If you are wondering whether or not Mueller is open to transparency and accountability in his deeply flawed investigation, think again. Watch this.
I do not believe it is appropriate for me to speak further about the investigation or to comment on the actions of the Justice Department or Congress. And it's for that reason I will not be taking questions today as well.
Oh, Bob Mueller does not want to answer questions of Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows, Matt Gaetz, and other Republicans, and have to answer for why he hired only Democratic donors, big-time donors. Why, for example, did Robert Mueller, I'd like to see him answer this question, why in an investigation would you have hired Hillary Clinton's former attorney for the Clinton Foundation, Jeannie Ray? Why did you hire a man named Andrew Weissman, your pit bull, according to the New York Times, who has nothing but a long track record, license to lie, Sidney Powell, of withholding exculpatory evidence, of losing tens of thousands of Americans' jobs in the Enron case, being beaten down 9-0 in the U.S. Supreme Court, putting 4 Merrill executives in jail for a year, and that was overturned by the Fifth Circuit. How did you hire that guy? And by the way, he also attended, Andrew Weissman, Hillary Clinton's victory party on election night 2016. Not one Republican donor. By the way, a Hillary Clinton superfan investigating her political rival. Why didn't Mueller hire any Republican donors? When did Mueller determine there was no collusion? I'd like that question answered. And why was he more interested in FARA and taxi medallions and loan applications and taxes than he was about a dirty Russian dossier with Russian disinformation that an opposition party candidate paid for and then was used to spy on the opposition party that, people that you hired said should win 100 million to 0, that Trump was lonesome. And they had an insurance policy just in case Donald Trump win. Why did you hire him? Mr. Mueller, why did you hire Strzok and Page? Why did it take Michael Horowitz to reveal the text? Because you didn't do it, and you wiped their phones clean. How many months did the special counsel pursue a perjury trap, obstruction charges, after the president was cleared of all underlying crimes? How did you have time to get into a FARA violation and medallions and loan applications, yet at no time did you, Mr. Mueller, dare to investigate the very root of this entire hoax? Hillary Clinton's dirty Russian dossier put together by a foreign spy that's not supposed to influence our elections, who, by the way, doesn't stand by his own dossier. The New York Times is suggesting likely Russian disinformation. Isn't that closer to the original mandate that Rod Rosenstein gave you? Did you even care that Hillary Clinton paid a foreign spy to interfere in our election and use Russian lies? Did you even care that your buddy James Comey used Hillary's Russian dossier to spy not only on an American citizen, and they spied in other ways also, but to go before a FISA court and lie by omission and not tell the court that Hillary paid for those lies, also not verify what was in the dossier? We now know it was unverifiable because the guy that wrote the dossier doesn't stand by it and says he has no idea if any of it's true. We, the American people, deserve answers to these questions. I want Mueller under oath. I want him held accountable. I want him answering those questions. It is now more important than ever. Senator Lindsey Graham summed it up perfectly. Act one is over. The Mueller witch hunt is done, complete, whether they like it or not. But now Act two, the curtain is rising. Take a look.
Do you share my concerns about the FISA warrant process?
Yes.
Do you share my concerns about the counterintelligence investigation, how it was opened and why it was opened?
Yes.
Do you share my concerns that the lack of professionalism in the Clinton email investigation is something we should all look at?
Yes.
Okay. Do you expect to change your mind about the bottom line conclusions of the Mueller report?
No.
Do you think the president's campaign in 2016 was thoroughly looked at in terms of whether or not they colluded with the Russians?
Yes.
And the answer is no, according to Bob Mueller.
That's right.
He couldn't decide about obstruction. You did. Is that correct?
That's right.
You feel good about your decision?
Absolutely.
Now, despite what you just heard, Democrats just can't let go of their 2 years of lying, their 2 years of a hoax, their 2 years of conspiracy theories, nor can their best friends in the media mob. And Robert Mueller's speech today was, frankly, just another spark to reinvigorate one more final time what is an impeachment fantasy. Now, without a doubt, the radical, extreme Democratic Socialist Party, they are clamoring for impeachment more than ever before. Here's my message to them tonight. Go for it. Go for it. I want you to reach for the stars. I want you to stay on your new Green Deal that gets rid of oil, gas, the combustion engine, cows and planes, and everything's free, and whether you're willing or unwilling to work. And I want you to stay on impeachment. You just stay right there and don't solve any problems for the American people or serve the people that put you in Washington. Because I know most on the left, you're probably not smart enough to realize that the handwriting is on the wall. If you think November 2016 was bad, if you think the Mueller report was bad, and you can't handle that truth, well, your quest for impeachment is political suicide, and I'm going to kind of enjoy watching you dig the hole deeper every day. Because if Democrats pursue this sick dream of theirs, the election is going to be for Donald Trump in a landslide. He will win easily a second term. And the party of FDR, well, people like Scoop Jackson and Joe Lieberman, will forever be marginalized as a radical group of socialist extremists that don't care about the American people or making us more safe and more secure and more prosperous. So my advice to Speaker Pelosi, who's Speaker in name only, give in to the temptation. Give in to the Ocasio-Cortez wing of the party. And frankly, I think you're probably going to, because you know otherwise they're going to kick you out the door. Because really we know the real speaker is radical freshman lawmakers who will stop at nothing to rip this country apart at its core. But no matter what happens in the Democratic Party tonight, whether they in the media want to face simple, basic, fundamental truth, the Russia hoax is dead. Mueller's issues are dead, and the truth is on the march. And with the declassification of last week, I'm going to sit back and enjoy every night saying, as we've been telling you for the last 2 years, here's the evidence, because it's all coming out. The president, all of it, the FISA applications, the 302s, the Gang of Eight, the exculpatory evidence, it's all coming out. There's no stopping it. It's not if, it's when.